Today's video. Today's video would be based off of Java, right? But before we write any code, let's understand what Java even is, okay? Java is a programming language, right? And a programming language is just a way to talk to a computer. So, you know how you speak English to talk to people? Well, we write Java to talk to a computer. And we write instructions and the computer follows them, right? That's pretty much it. So, why Java specifically? Well, Java is used everywhere, right? In apps, websites, Android phones. It's pretty much one of, or if not the most popular languages in the world, right? Almost every coding class and most coding interviews use Java. And once you learn Java, the other languages become much easier. And I can't really say that for some of the other languages, right? But yeah. So how Java works is it works in three steps, okay? So first we write something called a .java file, right? And this is where all our code goes inside, right? And Java compiles the code. So pretty much that means it translates it into something the computer can understand. Then the computer runs it and it's ran by following our instructions. So think about it kind of like writing a recipe, right? We write the recipe, which is the code, and Java translates it for the kitchen, right? And this is what we call a compile, right? And the kitchen makes the food, and this is translated to the Java code running, right? So don't worry about this too much right now. Let's start with writing some code. Okay, so as we can see on the page over here, this is pretty much every programmer in the world, and when I say every, I mean every, right? Every programmer is in the whole world's first program, and it's called Hello World. And pretty much all it does is it prints the words Hello World onto the screen. It sounds simple, right? But it teaches us something very important, and that is the basic structure of Java, right? And so, as we can see, right, it looks a little bit scary because we see all these words, public class, public static void main, and I'll walk us through everything, okay? Oh, and I'm going to clear everything here away and we'll get started. So, the first thing that we're going to type in is public class main, okay? So, in Java, all of our code lives inside of something called a class, right? So think of a class kind of like a folder, and it holds your code and it gives it a name, okay? So public here just means anyone, right, can see this, right? And the class just means, okay, cool, I'm making a folder, right? And main is the name of the folder. It can be anything, right? And what we need to do now is we need to add some curly brackets, right? And the curly brackets is where the folder actually starts, okay? So the next line we're going to write now is going to be our main method, okay? So I'll show you it now. Public static void main string args, okay? Perfect. So this is our main method, right? When you hit run, Java looks for this exact line, okay? It's the starting point of our program. So think about it kind of like the door to a house, right? When you see a house, the first thing you look for is the door, okay? For now, you're probably going to need to memorize this line if you're doing Java, okay? And I'll explain each word later when that matters, okay? But just know that inside of this class, we're going to need another set of curly brackets, okay? And this is where our code goes, okay? Now for the fun part, right? Enough with all this structure, skeletons, bones. Now we're actually going to make our program do something, okay? So we're going to type in system dot out dot println, and we're going to type in hello world, okay? Perfect. So what this does here is we are telling this to print hello world to the screen, okay? So whatever we put inside of these parentheses over here, so these quotes, right? You can see the green part here and also this green part here, right? This is what actually shows up on the screen. And the semicolon at the end is like a period in English. So think about it kind of like a full stop, right? So every statement that we make in Java must end with a semicolon, okay? And if you forget it, well, Java will give you will yell at you, right? And how Java yells at you is by giving you errors, okay? Okay, so now let's look at these curly brackets, right? I've added a couple of curly brackets. Let me go into a little bit of detail about what they do. Okay? So these curly braces, right? They're kind of like containers, okay? So everything has an opening and a closing, okay? For example, we can see here, okay, cool. Everything is at this class here called main. And in here, everything is inside here, okay? So they always come with pairs pretty much. And now we're just gonna run our code, okay? And we should be able to see something fascinating come up. Perfect. So now that we run it, we can see that the output is hello world. And congratulations, you've just written your first program, okay? So now we're gonna move on to the next part, which is variable declaration, okay? So stay tuned and I'll put that into our next part.